Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Monica. Today's video will be on periodontal ligament. So what is periodontal ligament? It is a specialized fibrous connective tissue that attaches the root of the teeth to the alveolar bone. It is also known as periodontal membrane. It is highly vasculature, meaning that it has good blood supply, and it is cellular. It contains many cells, and the vascular channels connect the PDL to bone marrow spaces. Approximately its width is 0.2 mm, but it varies, and it is narrower in unerupted or inactive teeth. During hyperfunction, the PDL it becomes wider. Periodontal ligament it mainly contains collagen type 1, 6 and 12. So let's look at how the periodontal ligament or the PDL develops. So the process begins with root formation. As the root starts to form, an outer dentinal layer is laid down. Next, the Hertwig's epithelial root sheet it forms from the cervical loop of the enamel organ. So this sheet it is a double layered structure, and it is an important structure because it shapes the root structure. As the tooth continues to grow, it stretches the hairs, which causes it to fragment into small clusters called the epithelial rest of Malassez. So now the enamel organ and the hairs they are surrounded by a connective tissue structure, which is the dental sac or dental follicle. So the cells within the dental follicle they begin to divide and differentiate into. First one is cementoblast that forms the cementum. Second one is the fibroblast which forms the periodontal ligament fibers and the ground substance. And lastly, it forms osteoblast that forms the alveolar bone. So the fibroblasts they start producing the collagen fibrils. Initially, these fibers they are randomly oriented. Later, when the tooth starts erupting, they gradually becomes obliquely arranged. So the first collagen bundles which form near the cemento-enamel junctions, they are the gingivodental fibers. As tooth eruption continues, additional fiber groups they starts developing, which includes the oblique, transeptal, and the alveolar crest fibers. So these fibers they get embedded into the cementum and alveolar bone. Alveolar bone starts getting deposited around the periodontal ligament fiber organization. During the development of the mature PDL, it contains stem cells which can differentiate into osteoblast, cementoblast, and fibroblast, and it helps it to repair and regenerate throughout the life. Then a mature functional periodontal ligament is formed, which can absorb the shocks during chewing moments. Talking about the structural components of periodontal ligament, it comprises of cellular elements, periodontal fibers, and ground substance. In the cellular elements, we have synthesizing cells, which include fibroblasts, cementoblasts, and osteoblasts. The resorptive cells contain fibroblasts, cementoclast, and osteoclast. It also consists of epithelial cell rest of Malassez, progenitor cells, defense cells which include neutrophils, lymphocytes, macrophages, mast cells and eosinophils. The periodontal fibers they are a major component of the PDL. In this we have principal fibers which include alveolar crest, horizontal, oblique, apical, interradicular and transeptal fibers. There are other fibers such as oxytocin fibers and elonine fibers which are immature. Coming to the ground substance, PDL is mainly made up of glucosaminoglycans which include hyaluronic acid and proteoglycans, and the glycoprotein part it consists of water, fibronectin and laminin. So coming to the blood supply of periodontal ligament, the PDL gets its blood supply from inferior dental artery. The arterioles they enter near the root apex through the alveolar bone, branching into capillaries that form a network along the root. The collagen fibers run between these vessels, which lie closer to the bone than cementum. So there are connections between the pedial and the pulp near the apex and furcation area. And the venules, they drain blood back through the apex and or the bone marrow spaces. Talking about the nerve supply of periodontal ligament, the nerve bundles, they enter through the foramina in the alveolar bone, and the branch, it terminates near the cementum. They are useful in conveying sensations like pain, touch, and pressure, and also they help in proprioception and masticatory feedback control. So, coming to the principal fibers of periodontal ligament, these are the main structural fibers of the PDL, and they are mainly made up of type 1 collagen. They are arranged in bundles. At their ends, these fibers, they attach to the cementum and alveolar bone, and these attached ends, they are called as Sharpey's fibers. Together, the principal fibers and the Sharpey's fiber form a strong network connecting the tooth to the bone. So talking about the first group of principal fibers, that is the transeptal fibers. So these fibers, they are found between the adjacent teeth, running over the alveolar crest and embedded in the cementum of the neighboring teeth. Even if there is bone loss, these fibers, they can regenerate, which helps to maintain the tooth alignment. They are also considered part of the gingival group of fiber as they connect the teeth to each other and not to the bone. So coming to the second group of principal fibers, that is alveolar crest fibers. So these fibers, they extend obliquely from the cementum just below the junctional epithelium to the alveolar crest or periosteum. The main function is to prevent the tooth extrusion and the limit the lateral movements. So during surgical procedures, they are rarely affected, so they don't affect the tooth mobility. Coming to the next principal fiber, that is horizontal fibers. They run at right angles to the long axis of the tooth, extending from the cementum to the alveolar bone. Their main role is to prevent the lateral movement of the tooth, which helps to maintain its stable position inside the tooth socket. So coming to the next principal fiber, that is the oblique fibers. So these are the largest group of principal fibers in the PDL. They run obliquely from the cementum upward toward the alveolar bone. The main function is to absorb the vertical forces that occur during chewing and convert them into tension on the alveolar bone, which helps to protect tooth and its supporting structures. So talking about the next principal fiber, that is the apical fibers. So these fibers, they radiate irregularly from the cementum at the root apex to the surrounding alveolar bone. So they help to prevent tipping of the tooth, resist luxation, and protect the blood vessels and the nerves located at the root tip. So coming to the interradicular fibers, these fibers, they extend from the cementum to the bone in the furcation areas of multi-rooted teeth. So their main role is to resist the tipping, luxation, and the rotational forces, which help to stabilize the tooth in the socket. So coming to the functions of periodontal ligament, first is physical function. It protects the nerves and blood vessels and attaches the tooth to the bone, and it acts as a shock absorber. Its fibers, they adapt to both vertical and horizontal forces during chewing movement. Coming to the second function, that is formative and remodeling. Radial cells, they form and resorb cementum and bone. Continuous remodeling occurs as fibroblasts, they produce collagen, and mesenchymal cells form osteoblasts and cementoblasts, which allows the PDL to repair itself after injury. Coming to the third function, that is nutritional, PDL supplies nutrients and lymphatic drainage to the surrounding tissues. So next function is sensory. PDL, it contains nerve fibers that detect touch, pressure, and pain. These includes free nerve endings, Ruffini endings, Meissner, endings and spindle-like endings, which help the tooth to respond to mechanical forces. Coming to the next function, that is regulation of width. PDL helps to maintain its width even under varying chewing forces, and there are specialized cells which release regulatory molecules to keep the ligament in tissue homeostasis. If you have liked the content, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Thank you.